Hey guys, what is up? This is Matt. Today it's me once again. Welcome back to another movie review. AK After I Saw This time is going to be on Demon Slayer, the movie, Infinity Castle. This is the beginning of the finale of Demon Slayer, and in this movie, Tanjiro and his gang must go throughout the Infinity Castle to take on a very strong, powerful demon, and throughout the film, we see different character motivations play out throughout the film, and see their own backstories, and exactly what motivates them into wanting to become Demon Slayers. Because that's truly what the main core of the Demon Slayer series has been about. You know, rather than just Tanjiro wanting to, free his sister from her demonic presence, it's a lot more than that. Now, when I went to go see Demon Slayer Mugen Train, I haven't watched the series, and that was a bad idea because had I watched the series first, I would have gotten the full context of what was going on. But hey, I still love the movie regardless, and I did watch the series after that, and yeah, it's incredible. I have been a fan of it since that movie came out. And I was fully ready for this one as I've been completely caught up with Demon Slayer. And this movie was going to be huge. And rightfully so, because I saw this in IMAX not too long ago, about less than an hour ago. It was packed beyond belief. Probably more people than when I went to go see Mugen Train, probably just because, theaters were slowly starting to open back up. But yeah, I could see why, because of course, with this being the start of the conclusion, there was a lot for this movie to live up to. And I think it is a great way to start off this conclusion. It is very long, it's 2.5 hours long, 2 hours and 35 minutes to be exact, beating out Naja 2 as the longest animated film I've seen in the theater. At least that movie still holds the record for highest grossing animated film of all time, even though it didn't do too well in the US. It doesn't matter. Now, one thing that I feel like fans should expect is not to expect, the full gang being together, because Zenitsu and Inosuke, they aren't in the movie that much. It does focus a lot more on other characters rather than just, Tanjiro and his gang, but other characters too. We see their backstories, and like I mentioned earlier, why they have been motivated to become Demon Slayers, and it definitely has us connecting a lot throughout the film. Each storyline, without getting into spoilers, each of them, focuses on, a Slayer and the demon as, they have kind of like a talk before the fight. Sometimes it does drag on a little bit, definitely making you feel the movie's runtime for certain parts of the film. But it doesn't hide the fact that, man, the mayhem in terms of the action, it is all there. It is very stylish. Very beautiful to look at, though would you really call gore beautiful? Probably not, but it looked incredible. It is far more bloodier than Mugen Train, and probably some of the most bloody imagery throughout the entire Demon Slayer franchise. It is grotesque, it can be very disturbing, especially towards the last act, which I'm not going to spoil, but I feel like the last act is truly what will get fans excited for what the conclusion has to offer when we get to the series. And everybody was applauding by the end, going to show that, this movie definitely did its job in hyping people up for how it will conclude. Because it can go in either direction, especially after watching the film. Because throughout the movie, there's just so much that this movie manages to unpack in terms of these characters, as well as giving context about, some previous stuff and all that, in case some people haven't seen the series, though I feel like, you still, regardless, there's a lot to unpack when it comes to the series, that you should watch the series first before you watch this movie, because, yeah, it will make the experience even better. And this is coming from a guy who saw Mugen Train without knowing any context of the series. So, yeah, I don't know, but either way, if you just came for some bloody fun, you'll definitely get that. If you came for more in terms of the franchise, if you're a longtime fan, you should definitely check this one out. As for me, despite the fact that I'm a really big fan of this, I do have, a few gripes in terms of, the pacing. While it does open up pretty quickly, giving you exactly what to expect throughout the film, I guess it's just, sometimes, the exposition can be, I don't know. I was watching the dub. I feel like, if I was watching the sub, I would probably feel like, it wouldn't be, as, like, I don't know how to put it, but, there are two sides. People who like dub, people who don't, people who prefer subbed over dub or dub over subbed. But, in terms of the exposition, I feel like sometimes it can be a little bit like, I wouldn't say too deep, because I was really hooked on the character motives. I guess that's it. I guess it's just because it drags on a little too much. Like, sometimes it'll cut back to one character, then another character. I get why he has that. Kind of makes it feel like an anthology a little bit. But hey, each one of them was interesting. And it definitely brings in that motivation of, what is it going to lead to? Like, will the fight happen now? Will it happen later? But still, that's really about it. I guess it's also just due to the fact that, I would have liked to have seen more of these characters, in terms of Inosuke or Zenitsu, because it kind of doesn't feel the same without them. They're definitely in the movie, but one character who was barely in the movie was Nezuko, who only had, like, one scene, and it's not even involving fighting. But I'm not really complaining too much. It's just, I would have liked to have seen more of them. But hey, Zenitsu, he still has a big part. I really like the way he was fleshed out in this. Going from, kind of like a cowardish character to just being full-on serious in terms of being the full-on humorous side. Because these characters, they have grown a lot throughout the series. And that's exactly what I like seeing when it comes to shows like Demon Slayer. And this movie still manages to bring that. And in the end, guys, if you're a fan of Demon Slayer, you will definitely be satisfied. It's a fantastic big screen experience, and I just love the fact that, we have a new movie that isn't just a recap of previous episodes, but also early access to the next season, but actually a full-on movie. I mean, they kind of, made Mugen Train into a split series for some reason after it was released. I don't get that, so they're probably going to do the same thing for this. But nonetheless, there was a lot that this movie manages to bring to have people hyped for the full conclusion. And I can still definitely say that Demon Slayer, it's here to slay. Even when it does go. No doubt in my mind that it's going to make it big because it made it big overseas. Will it manage to do more than a Mugen Train? Who knows? But it's really going to be a shame when the series concludes. Hopefully, it'll have a full, satisfying conclusion because, again, excellent start. I cannot wait to see where it goes from here. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and maybe subscribe for more. You can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or maybe Blue Sky. Links are in the description. And now, if you'll excuse me, I am headed back to Pandora. And hopefully I won't suffer nearly as much through this as I did when it went to the big screen. But yeah, see you guys later. Word out.